hours after the U.S. and Iran announced that two-week ceasefire deal. Israel, without warning, bombarding central Beirut. The official toll now stands at 89 killed, according to the Lebanese Health Ministry. Israel billing it as an operation to take out Hezbollah operatives. Donald Trump, who's been telling U.S. media outlets that Lebanon is not part of the deal that has been brokered, a deal brokered with Pakistan in the early hours of Wednesday, Paris time. Karis Garland has more.
The morning after reaching a two-week ceasefire deal with Iran, it was the occasion for Pete Hegseth to take a victory lap at the Pentagon.
By any measure, Epic Fury decimated Iran's military and rendered it combat ineffective for years to come. Together with our Israeli partners, America's military achieved every single objective, on plan, on schedule, exactly as laid out from day one.
The agreement comes nearly 40 days after the US and Israel first launched strikes on Iran, and hours after Donald Trump's threat to kill a whole civilization if Tehran didn't make a deal that involved reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has confirmed it will allow the safe passage of ships through the waterway for the duration of the truce, but only via coordination with the Iranian armed forces. On Wednesday, the US president made a series of declarations on social media. He said there would be no enrichment of uranium by Iran and that Washington and Tehran would work together to dig up and remove nuclear material buried by US strikes last year. Trump went on to say, "We are and will be talking tariff and sanctions relief with Iran. Many of the 15 points have already been agreed to." These comments appear to clash with a list of demands released by the Iranian Supreme National Security Council, including the acceptance of the country's uranium enrichment. It also demands a US guarantee that it won't repeat its aggression against Iran and calls for the lifting of all sanctions. Meanwhile, in another post Wednesday, the US president announced that any country supplying weapons to the Islamic Republic would face a 50% tariff on any export to the US. The Pakistani Prime Minister, whose country brokered the ceasefire, said he had invited Iranian and US delegations to meet in Islamabad on Friday and that Iran's president had confirmed Tehran's attendance. But there was no official confirmation from Washington. The White House said no meeting would be considered official until formally announced.
And we had, just a short while ago, our correspondent at the White House, Fraser Jackson, saying that it appears that it's going to be Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff representing the U.S. delegation. There had been talk all day that it would be the U.S. Vice President, J.D. Vance, but that right now seems unlikely. With us to talk about it more, it's a pleasure to welcome for our Spotlight segment, Pakistan's ambassador to France. Mumtaz Zahra Baloch, thank you for being with us here on France 24.
Thank you.
The 11th hour deal brokered by Pakistan. I know that there's still a lot of moving pieces. What can you tell us about what we know about what are the next steps? It's 2 weeks and they're now going to try to consolidate it. What more do we know?
You see, this deal that was announced by our Prime Minister yesterday was a result of very sensitive, behind-the-scene conversations, very, very sensitive conversations between the relevant parties with friends around the region. And the most important aspect of these discussions was that we kept everything out of the spotlight of the media. And that is what we would like to do going forward as well, because what we are entering into in the coming few days is an even more sensitive phase. We would like the ceasefire to turn into a very comprehensive and long-lasting deal between the two sides, and that is why it's very important to keep these conversations outside the spotlight of the media.
Yeah, because it's confusing for viewers because there are conflicting claims. The U.S. Saying that Iran has promised no more uranium enrichment, for instance. The Iranians, in their version of what they put out in Farsi, making no mention of that. So how do we know if there even is a 10-point plan?
You see, that is, again, something between the parties and the facilitators. And as you know, Pakistan is definitely the lead facilitator, but there are other parties involved as well. And we would like to continue in the same fashion, not to discuss these things in the media. As you have rightly pointed out, it is already very sensitive. Every side assumes its own understanding as far as the media is concerned. So we would like to keep these negotiations as far as possible outside the purview of the media.
Pakistan, which began emerging as a lead mediator a few weeks back, along with the likes of Turkey, Egypt, Qatar, and others. Why Pakistan?
You see, Pakistan is a country which has always, throughout our history, upheld international law, UN Charter, and this is what Pakistan has always proclaimed. Our partners in the region and internationally know very well Pakistan's principled position. It is not about double standards. It's a principled position. When UN Charter is violated, Pakistan speaks up. When there are violations of sovereignty of states, Pakistan speaks up. And of course, so this one credential that Pakistan has, that to give us the credentials or the authority to speak with all these countries in a very positive manner.
Because Pakistan shares a border with Iran, but historically its closest ally in the region is Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely. We have actually very close ties, cultural ties, historical ties with all countries in the region, with Iran, with countries of the Gulf, with Saudi Arabia, as you have mentioned. We have millions of Pakistanis who are living in these countries. So it is not just economic or trade relations. These are cultural ties, these are historical ties, and there is a relationship of confidence and trust between Pakistan and these countries. So that is why Pakistan was able to play this kind of role, bringing its diplomatic efforts and communicating with all the parties concerned.
We've heard the French and Lebanese presidents who say they would like very much for Lebanon to be included in this process. Is it not in the process, or do you share that wish that it be in the process?
Our desire is that the entire region remains peaceful. The people of Lebanon have suffered a lot. People of this region have suffered a lot. And it is important that there is a comprehensive peace and a durable peace, and people of Lebanon deserve to live in peace.
Is it strictly a two-way discussion that's been taking place that's led to this ceasefire between the United States and Iran, or is Israel also in the mix?
I'm not aware of the involvement of Israel in as far as Pakistan's facilitation process is concerned, because, as you know, we do not have diplomatic ties with Israel. But there are other parties involved in these talks which do have those ties. So in the end, it is a collective team effort. There were other parties involved. Pakistan was one of the main facilitators, but we also had Turkey, we also had Egypt, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and as you may have heard, China also played a very important role. So all these countries played a very positive role in bringing this deal to fruition.
Yeah, we had several sources saying there was the U.S. Vice President and there were the Chinese. Do we know what China's role was?
I would not go into the details, but I can share with you what our Prime Minister has publicly said, and he has thanked all these countries and the role that they have played. And he has mentioned China as well. So all countries, whoever played this role, positive role in bringing this about, we appreciate that.
24 hours at this time, 24 hours ago at this time, everyone was on edge, particularly after Donald Trump began his day with a post to social media where he warned that a whole civilization will die tonight if there's no deal. The Karachi-based daily newspaper, the Express Tribune, headlined a bit tongue-in-cheek this Wednesday, Pakistan saves a whole civilization. I want to ask you, we're talking about deeds on the ground, how to get the guns to go silent. What do you make of the rhetoric we've heard over the last couple of weeks?
You see, rhetoric, but also the facts that many people were being killed. There were attacks. There were the civilian facilities were being hit. It was throughout the Gulf. So this was a very concerning situation. That's why for us it was a priority. Pakistan that's why working with all partners who could come with us and bring this deal to a fruition and to make sure that there is a ceasefire. We are glad that this ceasefire has taken place, and Pakistan in its own way contributing to that.
And traveling around here in the Paris area, there have been some runs on gas stations. Everybody's impacted when tankers don't go through the Strait of Hormuz. Pakistan gets 81% of its hydrocarbons, oil and gas, through that strait. You're more than most directly impacted by this.
Absolutely. Pakistan is in the region. Any issue that this region faces, any security issue, economic issues that arise in our neighborhood, they impact us. And of course, whether it is the oil exports from the region, but the security situation, that has serious repercussions for countries in the region. And Pakistan is in the immediate neighborhood. So that is why for Pakistan it was a serious concern how things were developing. And that's why we played this role.
Already in 2022, when the prices surged, you had an energy crisis then in Pakistan. How does it compare?
You see, the situation is that this time it is a global crisis. It is a crisis that IEA says may last for a long time, and that is why it's very important for the international community to find solutions and resolve this very, very critical issue. And we hope that in the coming 2 days, or coming 3-4 days, we would be able to move forward and find a definitive solution to these issues.
The Associated Press quoting Iranian state media in the last minute saying that Iran claims it is closing the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli attacks in Lebanon. Your reaction to that?
You see, what our Prime Minister is saying is requesting everybody to calm down and let the negotiations move forward and try to have a situation where we can continue to have these talks in a peaceful manner. And this is Pakistan's request. That is what Prime Minister of Pakistan has also asked all parties concerned. And we hope that they would, in the interest of the people of this region, all would abide by this understanding.
Mumtaz Zahra Baloch, many thanks for being with us here on France 24.
Thank you.